Hi everyone, this is What Becky Did Last Night, and this is part 2 of my Bird Crazy Picture Book 1 of a 3-part video series that I'm showing to you. So part 1, we made our backgrounds. In this video, we're going to make our birds and we're going to get them attached on with some very funny, well, they're so not funny that they are funny, puns added to them as well. So what I'm going to use today, the stamp set from Stampers Anonymous, Tim Holtz collection of Bird Crazy. The Sizzix dies singlets. I'm using them on my grand caliber machine, but I know they'll work on, well, I don't think there's any that they don't work on, but I don't know. This is a set of 18 dies that's just come out to cut out your birds. But they're not just the outlines, they're the eyes, the beak, and the wings as well. Other things that I'm going to use are some cord for our washing line, strong PVA glue. This is Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, which holds really quickly and stays very strong. Glossy accents, of course, by Ranger. I'm using a fine liner pen and Spectrum Noir. I'm going to use the bullet end of my alcohol pen. Some low tack sticky tape. Optionally, you might want some googly eyes. And I think that's it. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is stamp out our birds. So here they all are. And I'm going to take one at a time. And in order for us to be able to use the dies to cut out his features, if I just show you here, we're going to need 2 images stamped out because each bird has the outside and 2 separates for the inside pieces. So what I'm looking to do is have a main colour for the main part of the bird, and then whatever the accessory die is, that's going to be a different colour. So to be able to do that, I just need to stamp out 2 of everything. So I'm going for Ranger's Archival black ink. Take the pad to the stamp. Make sure I got that all. There we go. And so I'm just going to stamp 1. And then stamp another. And this is the Sheena Douglas's white stamping card. So before I swap the stamp, I'm just going to grab a baby wipe. Give it a quick wipe so I don't get archival ink on everything. Put him back and take out his body. Okay, so step 2 is going to be colouring in our birds. I'm going to use 2 colours from the Distress ink pads, and I'm going to apply the colour using just some inexpensive ink dabbers. And just so you know how we're going to colour these in, I've just laid down the dies to show you. So one is going to be effectively the background of the bird, so just got to colour him completely. And then the second one, I need to keep the eyes clean, colour his beak in, and colour his little wing in, and that's all I'm going to be colouring in. So let's see if we can speed up. Now, step 3, I've cut out all of the birds roughly, and I'm going to put through my die cutting machine 3 sets of birds at a time. I only have a grand caliber, so that's the machine I'm going to be using. So I'm going to take the die sets, and to make sure that I get them so that they don't shift, I'm using some low tack tape, and I'm just going to make it even less sticky because I don't want to rip off my colour or my paper. Now, a tip that I found to line these up correctly is, I'm not sure if you can see, but there are some tiny holes. They look like release holes. If I put the purple behind, can you see the little dots there? Those are actually lining up marks. So, as you can see, you've got a black line going from the end of his tail here, and the black line of his hair at the top, and his legs. When you line the die up, make sure that all of those holes, all of those dots, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, make sure they are all black underneath. And that is how you will line these up perfectly. There we go, so that's almost done, that bottom foot. Okay. I think I've got it. I think. There you go. So I'm just going to take my low tack tape. Here we go, that's 1. Okay, so I've just finished die cutting the last few pieces that wouldn't fit. And this is going to give me, oh, some very tiny bits running away. Here we go. This is going to give me the whole set now. So, where does he go? He goes over here. There we go. So the next step is just to assemble our bird's pieces together. And to do that, I'm going to use these really fine, I think they're 1mm foam sticky pads. Yeah, they look about 1mm. So all I'm going to do is attach the foam pieces. You can do this by hand or using your pokey tool. And I can trim these down to size as well. Oh! Now all of my birds are assembled. I'm just taking a white gel pen. This is from Signo. Signo? Yeah. And I'm just going to add some highlights to some places. And I'm just following any detail that's already there. Okay, and then for these guys' eyes, to make them nice and shiny, I'm just going to use the glossy accents. Okay, so I've arranged my birds on top of the different backgrounds that we made in the first part video. And I just wanted to share, I went into a garden centre today to get some ribbon for another project. And you know what us crafters are like? And I came across these little googly eyes, but they're different to the other ones I've had because there's really tiny ones in there. So this is the make. Oh, there we go. So it's just, it looks really generic. And I think it was £1.99, which I thought was a bit much, but there's so many in here. And of course I paid garden centre prices, so. Because you've got little oval ones, and then different sized circles, including really teensy weensy ones. So I'm going to use some of these to stick onto my birds. I think they look crazy enough without the eyes, but you know, when in Rome. So let's have a look then. So what I'm going to do in the same part is I'm going to take the background, stick the bird down and stick his eyes on. Not all of them have got googly eyes because, for example, this one, he's got an eye at the back. But yeah, most of them. So let's start with number 1. Another way that I was looking at the birds to see who's going to go where is the colours of the birds and the background. So for example, I didn't want to put this green-blue one on the green-blue background because he just sort of disappears a bit. So I've put him on the contrasting colours. So I'm just going to use PVA glue, and this is the Cosmic Shimmer. because this is what I have and this is what I use. Make sure I get his little feet. And also think about which way they're facing as well. So if I'd have put him on the edge, I wouldn't have been able to get a speech bubble. So a little bit of glue for his eyes. And I'm going to leave that to dry. But he's all ready for the next step. Okay, now for this guy, this is the one that I wanted to put on a washing line. So I had to go with this little guy because he's so big and round. So if he stands on the washing line, it's going to fall down. So I'll just stick his eyes on and then I'll explain what I'm doing with the wire. This was, I think I got this from Tiger or somewhere randomly. It's just crafting string or crafting cord, I think it was. But I don't really want lots of glue sticking around whilst I try and get it lined up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the bird down first, but I'm going to put the string over one of his feet so he is standing on it. So if I do that first, I think it's so cute because he's just looking like he doesn't understand why the washing line has sunken down. He's like, I don't get it. Okay, so that's helped me anchor the string. Just pull it through a bit. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm not going to put the glue on the string. I'm going to put the string in the glue. That's one side. And I'm going to trim off the excess, but these bits, once this is dried, they're going to go around the back. So that's why I'm leaving a nice dangly bit so that it doesn't fray. Okay, now I've been onto the internet and I've looked up some puns because puns are probably my favourite kind of joke. And they're just the right length to give each of these little guys something funny to say. So what I did is I took the scrap piece of card that was left from when we stamped the birds, and I hand wrote with my 0.1 fine line pen. This is a uni pin one, but it's pretty standard. And then I use my Spectrum Noir True Black pen to do the outline for the speech bubble. And that was the effect. So doing it this way, instead of using a speech bubble die or speech bubble stamps, I was able to write it and have the speech bubble fit the writing. All I've done is cut them out, and also the speech bubbles are very dependent because we've got a very small space to work on. I had to have the speech bubbles be just the right size and shape. So I'm just going to stick these down. Obviously I've cut them out, so now I'm sticking them down, and I'm going to tell you some puns. So here comes number one. A man drove his expensive car into a tree. He found out how Mercedes bends. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, number two. The pig stopped sunbathing because he was bacon in the heat. The bakery just burnt down. The business is toast. This one's for me. Sleeping comes so naturally to me, I could do it with my eyes closed. A man threw milk, cream and butter at me. How dare he? And finally, I was struggling to figure out what lightning was, but then it struck me. Boing. Okay, so that's all 6 of our birds stamped, die cut and built up and added to our backgrounds, all ready for our final part, which is going to be the assembly. And could you imagine if you were making these for fronts of a card set, how amazing these cards would be? And if you do that, let me know. And if you sell them, let me know how much you sell them for and how much people paid for them, because I really need to make some more money to make all these videos. So these are just so fun. If somebody sent me a card with one of these on, I would just probably laugh my pants off. So that's the end of part 2. In part 3, and in fact just before we go, I'm just going to use some of this tape just to keep those ends out of my way. But there we go. Part 3, we're going to assemble these and we're going to make them into a little book, so it actually becomes a little picture book. Yay! Thanks for watching.